Hello, Beauty News family. Welcome back to Wine Time. We are doing another Wine Time chat today. This topic was suggested to us on Instagram. We did a little shout out for suggestions of Wine Time topics. And we've actually had this question quite a bit in the past, and it popped up quite a bit when we put out the shout out, and that is about starting a brand, starting a beauty brand, or investing in a brand, or collaborating. So I think maybe we could start about talking about starting a brand, and then we'll get into maybe collaborating and maybe investing, because that's an interesting topic.
That's an interesting one. We do often get, I see comments every now and again about people being like, you're working on something behind the scenes, what are you working on, or what's happening, or you haven't spoken about this, does that mean that, or you... And like, we'll get to where we're at. We'll get to where we're at and why we're where we are. So we'll do that towards the end.
Yeah. Maybe we could start off by talking about what our ideal brand would look like. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, so I do have probably a list of things that I would want from a brand if I was going to create one. And I think the reason I've come up with this list is I've just seen a lot of people release brands that it's not because of the criticism they get. It's more, sometimes I don't feel...
Genuine?
Genuine. That's a good word. A lot of people might complain about like international shipping fees, and then when they start a brand, they charge like astronomical international shipping fees. And it's kind of like, well, you've complained about them on your channel multiple times. Why are you now doing that to your own fans? So for me, if I was to start a brand, there would be a bunch of categories that I'd want to tick just so I can deliver what I feel like a good brand should deliver. Now, probably the first thing is, because I'm Australian, we live in Australia, I would love the brand to be formulated and manufactured in Australia. And the reason is just simply because I would like to support my own country, bring the money into the country. I feel like that's an important thing to do. I would also really like to ship worldwide and absorb a lot of the shipping costs, because shipping from Australia is quite expensive. So I'd like to somehow get some deal going on where the shipping costs aren't ridiculous to people across the world, which might end up being like things like having warehouses around the world that distribute quickly and more cheaply, which is expensive to do, but that would be one thing I'd love to look into. I would want it to be vegan and cruelty free. I don't want to add more cruelty to the world. And also I would really want it to have reusable or completely recyclable packaging. And when I talk about reusable packaging, like good quality components that you can refill and actually offer refills. We do see some brands that are like, this is refillable, and then it's like, but you don't sell the refills, so what's the point of it being refillable? Like, that makes no sense to me. So those would probably be the main thing. But another one, and I know this is on Hailey's list as well, I would love to offer minis. I feel like people buy so much makeup, and if you like, I'm a lipstick junkie, I'm an eyeshadow junkie. I like to have multiple colors, and you don't need to have full tubes of liquid lipsticks to have that range of colors. It'd be nice to be able to offer like half size products as well as the full size as well. So like mini foundations, mini concealers, mini mascaras.
I agree.
Just so you don't have to have bulk of product that often goes off before you can actually finish it up. So those would be sort of the key things that I would really love to have if I started a brand. And you know, these are all very expensive things, but I feel like for me to maintain my integrity, that's what I'd sort of look to do.
I agree with everything that you said. They're all really good things that you would ideally have when you're launching a brand. Minis, I have banged on about this for so long. Things like highlighters and blushes and so many other things, they should just be minis. Like there shouldn't be full sizes. So yeah, I would definitely like minis. I found this really difficult to sort of get my head around, like ideally what would I want? After what Kat has mentioned, there's not really a whole lot more that I could add to that other than I would actually want a whole fucking team behind me to help with like conceptualizing product releases. And that's because I feel like if you are a small brand and you're doing it on your own, typically the ideas that you're going to be coming up with are things that inspire you and excite you about makeup. And I flip-flop all over the place. One month I like nudes, the next month I like fucking gold shades. Like, I would be such a flip-flopping fish with the things that are on my, like, what I want to make list. I would need a team behind me to keep me in check with that. Because if I decide, okay, I really want to release like a beautiful nude palette, boring, I know, but that's where my head's at. I would start planning it out 3 months down the track when I'm getting like samples in to look at. I'd be like, I really like purple. Like, and I would lose my interest in the nude palette. So I would absolutely need a team behind me. And also, I think another issue is because I get so fed up with like seeing so much rubbish being released, all of these like crappy collabs and shit like that. I feel like my frustration would come out, and I'd be like, "We're not doing that because blah brand did it recently," and
scrap
you know. So so I would definitely need a team behind me to help keep that in check, because I know that is one of my weaknesses.
Look, I'm just going to add to that really quickly. You are a very passionate person, so you can sort of go up and down with ideas and lose interest and love something and then hate something. So I think that's a really good idea. But I also think that having a team of people that can help you think outside the box is really important, because you could be the lead person going, okay, I came up with this idea, it's a cool concept, but at the same time, we're the kind of people that we use a lot of makeup on ourselves, we know what we like, but you can get quite tunnel vision and not think of all the other people that are potentially wanting to buy your products. And I feel like that's where some influencer brands and indie brands and sort of smaller brands can get unstuck, where they sort of go on one track and they sort of forget that there are a lot of other people out there. And it doesn't mean that all brands need to cater to everyone's wishes and needs and wants. But when there's one person and one specific sort of thought process behind the brand, you know, it can go off into of weird places.
And also it can start to look very disjointed when you look at their collection as a whole.
Or same old.
Yeah, same old. Like KKW Beauty, you know, it's so same old. But then, you know, you might have, like, if you looked at my brand a year after it released and I'd released a few collections, you probably look at it and go, the fuck is this? Yeah. This is the musings of a crazy woman.
There's like a multi-chrome collection and then a nude, like, beige collection.
Yeah. And then a sunset collection, and then, you know, like, so, I think if I was to start a brand, I would definitely want a large team behind me who has the ability to sort of take the ideas and roll with them in a way that is still true to what I would want to do without letting me go off too far with it, because I feel like I would lose interest, or I'd be changing things up after a month, or something like that.
I agree.
So another thing that was a question that we got was what our signature product would be if we created a brand. Now, look, if you know me, you know,
and the time of year,
and the time of year, you would know that my brand would just be advent calendars. Like, that's it. That's all it would be. No, a signature product for me would be an advent calendar. Otherwise, I think I would go for products that just look really good on maturing skin, and not just the older people, but the people in our age bracket who are just starting to like learn how to deal with it. I'd be looking at products aimed towards that demographic. They're still going to look good on younger skin. They're going to look good on older skin, but they're specifically designed to help transition people into maturity, basically.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I would buy that, so good. But I think for me, my signature product would probably be a lip product, because that's probably my favourite thing to play with and change up every day. Like, I can wear the same eyeshadow palette, and I have been in my Pan That palette series, pretty much every day, but then I've been changing up the lip every day. So I would love to create a really awesome lipstick, probably bullet over liquid. I would love a really sort of comfortable long wearing matte, and probably a really nice sort of creme sort of finish one as well. And I think where the difference would be, of course, I'd want to create the best formula I possibly can, but I think I would probably introduce some shades that are a little bit left of center. Like, you always get the same traditional reds, the same traditional nudes, same pinks, whereas I feel like there are a lot of shades out there that only a few brands that I can think of are really good at tapping into, finding slightly more unusual shades but making them really flattering. Like, I really love a good slightly sandy nude color. Very hard to find. Really hard to find. A really sort of dark blood red lip, very hard to find. You can find burgundies, and you can find berries, and you can find all these things until the cows come home. Yeah. Like a literal clotted blood red.
Yeah, they're really difficult to find. Yeah. And I mean, one does come to mind, but it's probably still not quite dark enough. It's that NYX Snow White shade.
But that one's also very blue toned. I'm thinking more sort of almost
with
orangey brown tones and stuff.
The browns in it.
I feel like there's a lot of sort of your standard lipsticks that are released, but there are a few brands that come to mind that are really good at finding the nuances and interesting shades that you apply and you're like, wow, I've never tried a lip product like this before. But unfortunately, a lot of those brands, I don't really love their formulas. So I would sort of want to put my own spin on that. And that would probably be my signature product, followed by, I would love some cream and dewier base products. So foundation, blush, bronzer, whatnot, that wears really well on oily skin, but also works on normal to dry skin as well.
Yeah.
Because I find that is
long-wearing
a niche,
creams.
Yeah, a long-wearing sort of dewier sort of product, because I find I like the effect of like a dewy base, but they melt off my face really quickly.
Yes.
Or I love the effect of a cream bronzer or a cream blush, but a lot of them leave my face sticky or lift my matte base. So I'd love to find more sort of dewier looking products that wear really well on oilier skin tones as well, or skin types as well. So that would be another sort of area I'd love to sort of look into, because that, I'm sure they exist. And there's like things here and there from random brands, but a specific collection designed for that, I haven't personally seen.
If a brand released a specific collection based around that, I buy one of everything to try it, because, like you said, the products are probably out there, but how many are you going to buy before you find the one that like actually ticks the box? And also, brands make so many claims about their products. You're never going to know if they're legitimate or not until you buy them and try them for yourself. Yeah. And, they'll say, in a study of 4 women, 3 of them said blah. Like, it means nothing. Of course they're going to say what you want them to say. They're testing your makeup. It's hard to find the products until you test them out. So, I think if the products are designed specifically for that and marketed in a way to let you know, I'd be open to buying it. Rather than hip hopping around to try and find them.
Because they're definitely out there, but like you said, like I can buy a foundation and if I wear it every single day, it will last me 3 to 4 months.
That's right, yeah.
Realistically, I could only try a few foundations a year to find the perfect one. And if I do find one I really like and that works on my skin, it gets discontinued by the time I find it. So,
Isn't that,
yeah.
That's very common. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So I feel like, I feel like that's sort of an overlap area where brands just assume if you have oily skin, you want matte, 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 dry, dry, dry. And yes, you want something to set and not to move and not to budge, but it doesn't mean it has to be a dry powder matte finish. It can actually have a nice luminosity to it, just as long as it doesn't melt off your face or transfer whenever you touch something, which, So those would probably be where I think I could add a value to the market, and that's a big thing. I feel like influencers often just want to create a brand for the sake of creating a brand and having their name on a product or making money or whatever it happens to be. And this is not just influencers, this is like anyone that starts. People do just create a brand for the sake of creating a brand. They don't actually add any value to the market. All they're doing is adding extra shit in the market, and that's what we get frustrated by. So there's no way in hell I would want to just be like, I'm creating the same thing that exists 1,000 times over, because there is no reason for me to do that. It already exists. So you have to do something that's different and innovative for it to even be worthwhile looking into. Another thing that we've spoken about and that would be awesome is, like I said, sort of refillable palettes and whatnot, but mini pan palettes. Like I feel like the best format palette is the Viseart sort of what are they called? The mini...
These, the little edits.
Yeah.
These guys,
The size of
They're
them...
so fantastic.
Perfect. The thing that kills me about those is that I feel like the colour stories are so uninspired. It'd be awesome to take that sort of small pan size, the similar sort of high quality eyeshadow, and have it in a permanent palette that you can refill and you can sort of edit as you go. And the pans are small enough that if you were using it all year round, you could theoretically use up...
Finish it
or
and
use
want to
up...
replace it.
Yeah, and actually replace shades that work seasonally. I like using cooler tones and mauves in winter, and now that that's moved on, let's add in some, I feel like that would be a really cool idea as well. Less bulk and and more quality.
So that is literally a case of less is more.
Yeah.
And I think that we don't see that enough in the industry these days. We see more is more. And I think it's, I think it's going to be the downfall of the beauty industry. Well, not the downfall, but it's really kind of killing it for a lot of people.
I feel like it's shifted the vibe.
It has. It has definitely shifted the vibe. It's very... Look, let's be real. Beauty-related products have always been, heavily, consumerism, within that bubble. Full on. But I feel like over the years, it's like someone injected it with steroids every day, and it's just got worse and worse and worse, and now it's becoming a little bit angry. It's a bit creepy.
I feel like it's almost gone from being a little treat. You go to a cafe, you buy a little cake and a nice coffee, and you treat yourself, this is enjoyable, to being eating McDonald's every day.
Every single day.
It's just gone to the fast food, fucking fast fashion, fast makeup, just on repeat, and it's just trash upon trash upon trash upon trash, until you look in your car and you're like, why do I have so many McDonald's wrappers in the passenger seat of my car? So that's what I think the makeup industry has become, and it's instead of it being a little, oh, this makes me feel good and this is a little treat, it's just become
toxic, bad.
Yeah, toxic. Yeah. And that's what I feel really, it's really hard though, because maintaining... So we both have channels where we review makeup. We've sort of shifted a lot to reviewing the collections we currently have, a lot of project panning, a lot of using up, decluttering, that kind of stuff. Because where we went from being excited, buying, testing, new, we're that has become so toxic in our lives that we have wanted to sort of almost rehabilitate that to some
Yeah.
degree.
Yeah, definitely.
And I feel like that mentality and we used to talk about obviously new release products every week. Back in the day it was twice a week.
Twice a week. Yeah.
It is so hard to do now because of how much junk is coming out. And that's where I think for us mentally, it's a lot better to talk about it monthly, just because it's so overwhelming and so like consuming.
Yeah.
And that's,
Yeah.
that takes away the special sort of fun element of makeup.
And it's all the same stuff. And this is like, Kat was talking about how, you know, she wants to make a lipstick, but if she's going to do it, she wants to bring something different to the table. She wants to make it better. And that is something that I would want to do as well. If I was going to release any product ever, it has got to be as good as the best that I've tried or better. Yeah. And these days, brands are releasing so much stuff, and so much of it is actually bad makeup.
Yeah.
And when, like, I'm just thinking about when you showed me those swatches of that palette that you bought. So you bought the BH, is it BH?
Be Perfect. Be Perfect.
Be Perfect Cosmetics, one of the Carnival palettes. Yeah. And you know, you said in your review, it's not that great. And then you sent me a video of a girl who was swatching her palette compared to her friend's palette. The formula, completely fucking different.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I just look at that and I'm like, that is so disappointing. That brand should be ashamed of themselves for letting that happen. And I would fucking roll in my grave if I released a brand like that or a product like that. It would,
I agree.
Like, goes against all of my morals. I have way too much integrity for that, and my standards are way too fucking high. And we sit here and we criticize makeup. We've been doing it for years. So it would be, and I know Kat is the same, we would want to bring out the absolute best possible thing that we could. We would want it to be innovative, exciting. We would want it to work for multiple skin tones and skin types. Like, the amount of work that would have to go into products that we would release.
And money.
Fucking astronomical. Like, and we just don't have that. We don't have the money. We don't have the time. We don't have the resources.
We don't have the connections. So, we don't have the knowledge. We have none of that. Yeah.
And look, we have done some research on this, and we can tell you the types of things that go in to starting brands. Like, just the very first thing, finding a manufacturer. Have fun with that. Yeah. Hope you've got a few days set aside to chase them down. Just to find contact details.
Yeah.
Like, it is super, super difficult. If you are wanting to have something made from scratch, having something formulated, I hope you have in Australia, I hope you have $500 an hour.
Yeah.
For a top-notch formulator.
And something like a minimum of, they say, like 40 hours to create a product. Like, what the actual fuck? So that's the sort of money and the time and the resources you need in Australia to do it.
Yeah.
And that also comes back to why a lot of brands or a lot of influencers, when they start brands, they go to manufacturers like Seed that creates Colourpop, created KKW, created Kylie, created Tati Cosmetics and whatnot, because it's essentially a tweak of private labeling. So essentially what you can do is go to these manufacturers that have their sort of catalogue of products they can offer you, and you can tweak them a little bit so they're slightly different to the other brands under their umbrellas. And that's what Tati did, you know, that's what Kylie did, that's what Kim did. That's the cheapest and easiest way to do it. And often brands start that way to get the ball rolling and get the money coming in before they can actually start investing tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars on creating their sort of perfect innovative products. And a lot of brands never get to that point. A lot of brands never get there. They're like, what we're doing is working. our name and our image and our concepts and our collaborations are working enough that we don't have to really put a lot of research and development into creating better products. And that's often why you see a lot of just bulk and a lot of just shit on the market, because it's cheaper to just create the same thing that other brands are creating with a slight minor tweak and a change of color and a change of scent and a different bottle than actually putting your heart and soul into creating something that you think is going to be head and shoulders above what is currently on the market. The brands that tend to do that are the big brands, the L'Oreals, the Estee Lauders. They are the ones that can pay, developers full-time wages to just innovate and try to create the next interesting formula. And that's why it's very, very hard for smaller brands to actually do things that are amazing, unfortunately.
Yes. Yeah. Before we continue with this week's episode, we do have some sponsors. Sometimes life stinks. I recently ordered food delivery and the app always puts my location away from my actual house. You can probably tell where this is going. So when delivery drivers try to drop my food off, they're sent down a series of streets that don't lead to my house and are a maze of dead ends. On this particular occasion, after 3 phone calls and multiple texts with the driver, I had to get in my car and drive to pick the food up from him. Saying that stinks is definitely a very nice way of expressing my feelings at the time. However, there is one small thing you can do to prevent a literal type of stink and try not to sweat the small stuff. Check out Native. Native cares about the products you put on your body. They're about stopping the stink the right way. That's the Native difference. You probably already know about Native's legendary aluminium-free deodorant, but have you tried their body wash, toothpaste, or their brand new mineral-based sunscreen? Native's on a mission to overhaul your entire hygiene routine by putting the care in self-care, with products carefully made to work against odor that are made with simple ingredients and smell great. You can even build your own personalized product bundles, mix and match 3 of your favorite scents and keep them on rotation so you have something for every occasion. And don't forget to check out their limited edition Fall Coffee House collection, which is out now, featuring 4 gorgeous scents inspired by your favorite fall beverages.
If you've been watching beauty news for a while, you'll know that we aren't really into the whole fad of natural products. Some people love it and that's great, but for me, I just like products that work. So that's why I've been using Native deodorant for a year. It's just a good deodorant that controls odor and minimizes sweat. I also find the large range of scents that these come in really exciting because I like scented things. What can I say? So being able to try different ones each season is just fun. I enjoy it.
Stay fresh, stay clean with Native by going to nativedeo.com/beautynews or use promo code beautynews at checkout and get 20% off your first order. That's nativedeo.com/beautynews or use promo code beautynews at checkout for 20% off your first order. Aurate is fine jewelry made in New York City, founded by women for women. Pieces range from classic to statement to completely original. All Aurate pieces come with a lifetime warranty because it's jewelry for life. It's designed to be worn through all occasions, whether it be a special event or as a core collection piece that you wear every day and don't take off. They will survive the chores, the gym, the shower. Aurate is ethically made in New York City. Their gold is never mined and their gemstones and diamonds are also certified conflict free. Plus, Aurate also gives back and supports various causes ranging from the environment to social causes empowering women, youth and children. Besides transparent pricing, Aurate has also now teamed up with Klarna to make their items even more accessible to all of you. Basically, using Klarna, you can shop now and pay over time. Just a more flexible way to get what you want from Aurate. You guys know we've had our Aurate pieces for a long time, and I always talk about how I never take them out and they've held up so well to day-to-day life, and nothing has changed. And as I near 2 whole years of daily wear with my mini gold bar earrings, I think it's pretty clear that the quality of Aurate's pieces is speaking for itself. It's a brand that I have confidence in, and I wouldn't hesitate to purchase items for myself or even as a gift in the future. For 20% off your first Aurate purchase, go to auratenewyork.com/beauty and use promo code BEAUTY. That's 20% off with no minimum spend. They rarely have discounts as high as 20% off, so now is a fantastic time to shop. So again, head to auratenewyork.com. That's AURATE, and use promo code BEAUTY at checkout for 20% off your first purchase. We all love our cats, and it's not unusual to want to put their needs first, whether it be spending extra on a special diet, creating an indoor jungle gym for them to play on, or skipping a night out with friends so your cat doesn't need to be home alone. Another easy way of putting their needs first is keeping tabs on their health, and that's where Pretty Litter comes in. Pretty Litter is kitty litter reinvented. Unlike traditional litter, Pretty Litter's super light crystals trap odor and release moisture, resulting in dry, low-maintenance litter that doesn't smell. Plus, Pretty Litter is safer for your cat and for the whole household. Many conventional litters contain irritants that can aggravate allergies and asthma, but Pretty Litter's super light crystal base minimizes mess and dust. Pretty Litter arrives safely at your door in a small lightweight bag that lasts up to a month. Having bags auto-shipped means you don't have to deal with last-minute trips to the store, and shipping is free. But above all else, here's why Pretty Litter is a pet parent's hero. It's a health indicator. Pretty Litter monitors your cat's health by changing colours when it detects potential underlying issues. You won't find that kind of innovation in conventional litter.
I have 2 cats, I live in an apartment, and generally that combination is pretty icky. So I'm always on the lookout for a good kitty litter that makes my life a lot easier. Pretty Litter ticks a lot of boxes. It's great at absorbing cat smells, it's not messy or dusty, and the health indicator lets me keep an eye on my 12-year-old cat who's prone to bladder problems. So tick, tick, tick.
Love is putting your cat's health first with Pretty Litter. Do what we did and make the switch today by visiting prettylitter.com and use promo code BEAUTYNEWS for 20% off your first order. That's prettylitter.com, promo code BEAUTYNEWS for 20% off. Again, that's prettylitter.com, promo code BEAUTYNEWS. Some other things that hold brands back, and let's talk about like smaller brands. So we're talking about the indie brands. Hypothetically, if Cat and I started a brand, it would be a smaller brand. So that kind of thing. There are things that pop up when we're talking about indie brands. Things that come up are like, you know, oh, why is it so expensive? Why is the shipping so expensive? Why can't they ship to me? Things like that. These are other issues that are actually really serious issues when it comes to setting up brands, and working out the logistics behind them can be really difficult. So I think there's a misconception about having products manufactured is really cheap, and then you just sell them for like 200 or 300 times what they actually cost you to have them manufactured, and suddenly money rain shower. To some degree that probably happens, but not when you're a little brand. No. And you're making like small quantities of things. It is actually very expensive to have things manufactured. We're talking like tens of thousands of dollars for a single product. Then you've got like warehousing and distribution. So you can't just store your stuff in your garage. Like, you're not going to have the room for it. Kat mentioned that she would want to be able to ship products globally, and if you're going to have warehousing around the world, they have to store your products. They actually pick and pack them and then post them off to you, and that is also an expense. So you start to see, you know, the dollars sort of fly off the shelf when you're a smaller brand and doing things on a smaller scale, but also trying to be global. And that's why when I see, you know, like these smaller brands that are like, they just don't ship to us, or they charge like 30 or 40 US dollars for shipping to Australia, I don't sit there and get mad. I sit there and go, I'm not surprised. Because I know how much it costs to ship something overseas.
Yeah, but it also means that it's gonna deter me from buying from them.
Oh, absolutely.
But I do understand it, like you said.
Yeah.
And I think also, you mentioning that some people think that you manufacture a product for a couple of bucks, you sell it for $30, and wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. But there's also, like you said, shipping, packing, warehousing, transportation, and there's also staff. There's packaging. There's design. There's paying for website. There's paying so much stuff. So it's not. You don't just make the difference in what it costs and then what you sell it for. You only really take a small bit off the top. The only time that you can make shit tons of money is if you do sell, tens, hundreds of thousands of units, and all of a sudden, and they're flying off the shelves, all of a sudden things are a lot cheaper to make, because with manufacturing, the more you make, the cheaper each product is.
Yes, that's correct.
So all of a sudden, in bulk, you can obviously get a discount in multiple things, including shipping and warehousing and whatnot. So the bigger you are, the more money you can make. So in conclusion, what does that mean? It means that we're not ever going to create a brand, unfortunately.
We're not starting a brand. No.
Is it possible? Like, people have created brands. People have created brands, and probably right now there are hundreds of people looking at creating beauty brands. Yeah. It can be done. But a lot of the time, the people that do it very successfully and start quite seamlessly, they're the ones that have a lot of investment behind them, someone guiding them. They might have industry connections or knowledge. They might be able to piggyback off another brand, and it's like the sister brand. Like, there's so many ways that people can do it. But if you are just, random person going, oh, I love makeup, how do I create a big international well-respected, not big, but international well-respected makeup brand that's running smoothly, and it's not just out of my garage where I'm hand pressing bloody pigments. It is a lot of work and effort, and to do it to a level where you're proud of the product, and you're proud of and you're getting good reviews on how quickly shipping is and how affordable shipping is, all that kind of stuff. Customer experience is at an optimal. You need hundreds of thousands of dollars behind you, and a lot of help. And we don't have that. We don't want to seek that. We don't have the time for that. And we also know very well that if we wanted to create products that are as good or better than the products that we recommend to our followers and friends and family and whatnot, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a very long time.
Oh, hell no.
And it's probably not even worth the headache. Let's be real.
No. You know how we sort of mock people when they say this, but when they say, oh, it was 2 years in the making, they're not lying.
Yeah.
In some cases, it's longer, especially if they're super focused on getting that formula just the way that they want it. It's not super easy. Formulating is actually it's complicated. Yeah. It's a complicated process. So no Beauty News Beauty coming in the future.
That's a missed opportunity. What a name.
Beauty News Beauty. I know. I love it. It's ours. You can't have it. We'll come after you. Don't you dare. How about we talk about collaborations though? How do you feel about collaborations?
Look, I think collaborations are a lot easier because you can collaborate with a brand that you already like their formulas of, and all you really need to do is pick the colours that you like, whether it's a lip product, whether it's an eyeshadow palette, whether it's a highlighter. All you need to do is go, I like you like me, I like you, let's make a baby. So that's a lot easier to do. I
agree,
We don't have any collaborations in the works. And I feel like the reasons why we don't, and probably will never, we've only ever had one come across our table, and we were like, hell no, that brand is dog shit. No way at all.
No way, Jose.
And the fact that it actually came into our emails made me think that they clearly don't watch enough of our content, because they would know that was a no-go. Anyway, I think the problem with us as beauty news, not so much us on our individual channels, because, you know, we have our own tastes in makeup and we have our own styles and preferences, and brands that we prefer. So they're probably better fits. But beauty news is where you get like the exposure, but also we are so critical of makeup that brands don't like us, and they come around over the years, and there are some brands that really value the feedback that we give and like the way we deliver like sort of the information, but we're not a good face for a brand. And can I also tell you, I don't ever fucking want to be the face of like a product. I wouldn't mind collaborating, being like, this is my favorite color story or something, but I honestly would get nightmares over having to be in a photo shoot and like...
Yeah, same. I'm not about that. Do a
fucking video pitch and selling shit. That would give me anxiety to the roof. I would not even... I wouldn't be worth it.
I'm with you. Like, I physically cannot picture myself sitting there doing a video trying to spruik my collaboration palette. Like, I don't have it in me.
Bile would be coming up and I'd be gagging. Like, it would make me so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's like, it's just not, I don't have that in me. So if a brand wanted to collaborate with me, I'd have to be like, you know, you have to take the reins, baby, because I can't. It's just not who I am. And I feel like if I tried to do that, it would come across so disingenuous, because that's just, I don't have a problem with other people doing it. In fact, I like it when people create videos about their collabs.
Their collaboration.
Gives me some insight into it. But for some reason, I just don't see myself. Like, I can't picture myself doing that. I'd have a fit. I really would.
I think also, you know, you and I are very different to the normal sort of beauty channels where they... A lot of people aren't like I'm about to explain. They're a lot like us. So I think there's almost two parties. There's people that like to come onto YouTube as a platform to talk to other beauty lovers about their interest, and that's sort of where it ends, and that's where it ends for us. Then there's people that get on there and they almost want to become influencers and catapult a sort of semi-celebrity career, and they love the attention. They love the idea of photo shoots. They love the idea of like, I created this with the brand and I love it and I'm so proud of it. Whereas I am so critical of everything I do. I'm not a perfectionist to the point where it's crippling and I don't get things done.
Do anything.
But I am a perfectionist to the point where I'm never happy with what I've done. So for me to then be like, oh my God, I created the best lipstick in the world. I'd be like, did you though? Did you try every lipstick in the world and is it the best? Like, it would actually cause me, I would lose sleep over having to do that. So we are just not good people to ever be promoting a product because it just feels so uncomfortable to me. Like But I would, there's part of me that, you know, the makeup lover in me, and this is where you sort of, when you first discover, build your own eyeshadow palettes and you get like all the, this is amazing. Like there is a part of me that would love to pair with a brand to create an awesome eyeshadow palette that like, and I can think of like the colors and the this and that, and they'll pair with that, and this little area would go, I'd love to do that. That would be like, I would just get so much excitement and joy out of that. But then to have to sell that is where I'd be like...
That's my issue as well. Yes. It's not that I wouldn't want to do the collab. It's the part where I have to sit there and promote it. Like even just doing the ads on Beauty News. Like I'm just like... I've tried these products. I know they're good, but my God, this is hard. Like
it is hard.
I'm just like, this is so hard. And like every episode, I'm just like, oh my God, help me, Jesus, take the wheel. But that doesn't mean that I won't do, like, obviously we do it for Beauty News, but like in an ideal world, I would love to like collaborate with HUDE on my perfect brush set or something like that. But I don't want to sell it. I don't want to do the selling part.
Yeah.
I don't mind being like those things. Sell them together. But yeah.
That's where I reckon it would be, instead of actually collaborating and being... Because also this is a thing that people... I think they know this. It's quite obvious. But at the same time, they don't feel the weight of it like we might. When a brand approaches you, they put a lot on your shoulders. They expect you to sell certain units. They expect it to be a give and a take. They might come across that it's all like, we'll help you, but they want something in return. And that pressure is uncomfortable. I don't like it. I don't want it. So I would much prefer to get a job behind the scenes helping brands curate brush packs or brush sets or like eyeshadow palettes or, you know, trend editions of blah, blah, blah. I would much prefer to be behind the scenes than the one that's in front selling it and doing the 100%. Awkward poses in the wilderness. Like,
oh, God, no.
No. I would literally want to curl up and die.
I'd have to be sedated and they would just have to like
open your eyes,
position me. They just use toothpicks to keep them open and then position me. No.
I can't. I agree. It's too cringe for me.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Like I would love to use some of my ideas to create stuff like that, but I don't want to be the face of it. I don't want to like promote it. That's just not. It's not my thing. And it's not that I think there's anything bad with that. Like,
it's just not our
doing a collaboration. Yeah, that's right. It's simply not our personalities. So, yeah, that's collabs.
No collabs
Sedate
happening.
Me and I'll do it.
No brands happening. Nothing happening at the Beauty News headquarters
but
at the moment. Yeah.
What about investing?
Look,
there's none of that happening either, but
happening.
I think we would.
Yeah, I would. I would invest in brands. I'm just trying to think of what brand I would...
What brand, yeah. Well, I mean, I invest in brands anyway. None of them are beauty brands, but I invest. But that doesn't mean I would not, like, or I'd be opposed to investing in a beauty brand. I think... if I had seen the boom of the beauty industry coming like 5 years ago, I might have invested. However, when I think about the companies that I know I could have invested in, like Estee Lauder and stuff like that, like, you know, I'm talking about like, you know, stock exchange type investments.
Yeah.
I wouldn't actually want to invest in those companies because I don't think they're doing all that well. To be perfectly honest,
like they're doing fine, but they're not like the stock prices aren't gonna shoot. It's not gonna be like, you know, if Fenty became, you know, a publicly listed company, you'd want to jump on that because that would eventually go, you know, big. I think I agree with you. I would be not opposed to investing like, here's my money, but at the same time, I think when it comes to when people ask, would we invest? I reckon this is more related to, would we do a Chloe Morello and become a big share of face halo and almost be like the face of the company, similar to the Pixi Woo sisters, how they were...
with Real Techniques.
Real Techniques. Real Techniques was its own brand and they employed them to be... sort of like a creative force behind it, but also the face of it. And I think they did that for like 10 years. And then once their contract was up, they left and they took their photos off all the packaging. So would we do that with a brand?
Look, I probably wouldn't because I feel like in a situation like that where it's like, say they're paying you to be the face of a brand, you don't actually have any control about what's going on behind the scenes. So you don't have control about what they're releasing, the quality, anything like that. And I would not be willing to let someone use my likeness for that, essentially. yeah, I just wouldn't sign a contract that says, yes, I'll just be the face of whatever you want to do behind me. Like,
I think
no.
also the problem is, and this was actually, funnily enough, a thing that did come into my mind the other week, because Kester Black sent out emails about people becoming investors into the brand. They were trying to drum up more money. I've seen a few brands do that. I think that's a way that people are sort of keeping afloat throughout the pandemic. They're sort of getting people to buy into the company. And this was not something that's like behind the scenes. This was just to anyone that was on their mailing list. I was like, it'd be interesting, and I would like to sort of see the behind the scenes and invest in a brand that I like. But at the same time, as a reviewer, I would feel it's a bias. Yeah. So all of a sudden,
conflict of interest.
Yeah. All of a sudden, and you know, when people are like, you're so biased, we're biased in terms of our personality and what we like. So our personal preferences cause a bias. So I'm more inclined to like orange blushes than pink blushes because that's what suits me. So I am biased in what colours I like. However, we're never biased in like what brands we like or don't like. There's no financial incentive, which is what the actual bias is. People assume it's like you've got a preference for certain formulas, therefore you're biased. That's just a personal preference. A bias is you're being influenced behind the scenes, and it's often to do with money.
Usually money, yeah.
And we've made a choice not to accept makeup or skincare brands as sponsors purely so when we don't create any form of bias or any perception of bias, which is why we feature other sponsors on our videos. So we've done that. And
trust me, we've had heaps.
Yeah. And we knock them back all the time.
Always.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
The closest we will accept is a hair product. But makeup, skincare, and we've had some good brands.
We have.
Good brands. And we're like, sorry.
Good brands.
Brands that we've used, but we're like, no, sorry, because this creates a bias or a perceived bias. So the problem is that if you are aligned with a particular brand, and if it's a tool like Chloe's done, it's not that big a deal, because she's not like, oh no, this now ruins my reputation of when I'm reviewing other face cloths. Like it's a tool. It's fine,
and it's quite a niche tool. It's not like a makeup sponge.
Exactly right. But then all of a sudden, if you're like, oh, I'm invested in L'Oreal and particularly the foundation range, whenever you feature any other foundation, you can feel, and especially if you give it like a bad review, people are like, you're only saying that because you're paid by L'Oreal. Like there's always a bias or a perception of bias when you do align yourself with a brand like that. So I can't think of a brand that I love and believe in enough that I would want to become a partner in. And also I just wouldn't do it because I feel like it causes too many complications.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the points that you made there were pretty much spot on. And I don't have a whole lot of confidence in the beauty industry at the moment. I don't think it's going to tank. I don't think it's going to like fall into a hole or anything like that. But I do think it's peaking, and I think maybe it might even just be me that's peaked, and you know, and I'm over it, which is probably, you know, it's probably fair. But I don't know. I'm interested to see where the beauty industry goes over the next few years, because I think there are going to be changes happening, and I think it's actually going to be like seeing a lot of brands just sort of trickle off. Because I think there's absolutely an oversaturation of products coming out at the moment. I think, you know, I don't see how what the beauty industry is currently going through is possibly sustainable. I think something's going to change. I don't know what it's going to look like, but for that reason, I would be very hesitant to actually put money into a beauty brand at the moment.
I feel like what's going to happen So at the moment, we're seeing the big surge of collaborations, and
Yes.
and it's not even influencer collaborations anymore. That's still happening, but it's mainly with the properties and Disney and whatnot and Marvel. I feel like what's going to happen and what's going to put a big spanner in the works is, I think the trends are going to change. We're still coming off the back of Instagram makeup, the colourful eyeshadows, the bold eyebrows, the this and that, the blah, 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 the full coverage. And I feel like that's petering off in some pockets.
It is.
But it's still going strong. Like, if you're still looking at makeup artist accounts that are getting a lot of traction, a lot of them are doing the Instagram sort of makeup. That trend is going to completely die. That's going to become the tacky makeup of the 2010s.
Of our generation. Yes.
And it's going... and it's going to be, like, we're in the 2020s now, but I feel like it's dying. I feel like that's going to be the 2010s. That's going to be like, people had this reaction to all of a sudden all this online social media that they started caking their faces with makeup, and people are going to look back and cringe. It's going to be the
double denim of
all the 80s makeup of our generation. So what's next is probably going to be more flawless, more minimal, more something like that. It's going to shift. And of course, you'll always have the people that are rocking the 80s blue eyeshadow. They're never going to go. But as soon as the trends start changing, there's going to be people that are like, I don't want to buy that fucking Disney palette. That is not something that I'm interested in. And so then they're going to lose money and things are going to change from then on. So I do agree. I think there's going to be a big shift, but I feel like we're still a couple of years away from it. But when it happens, it's going to completely do a 180.
Flip. Yeah. Because I feel like the collaborations, like the property collaborations, really sort of come out of nowhere. Well, not necessarily come out of nowhere. We have been seeing them for years, but the volume incessant release, and some brands that are like, that's all we do, like Hip Dot. All we do are these like collaborations with properties and stuff. When you start seeing brands that are dedicated to doing that one thing, that's when you know that there has been this massive, massive shift in the community, and it's not sustainable. And I do think you're right. I think it will change. And I mean, I look forward to the change. It can't come soon enough for me. But like we said I think was it the last Wine Time or the last episode of Beauty News, we're the first people to get tired of the trends.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we see it so often.
It's day in, day out. Yeah, I agree. So pretty much no brand, no collaborations, no investments happening. So that puts all the rumours to rest.
To bed. Yeah.
Nothing happening. Literally nothing.
Anyway, guys, we do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And also, feel free to let us know what your perfect beauty brand would look like. What sort of products would you release? What would be some ideal aspects of your beauty brand? Let us know.
What brands would you collaborate with, and what would you want to create?
What brands would you invest in? Like, legitimately, what brands would you put money into? I would be really, really keen
to see. Not Jeffree Star.
No. No, don't do it. It's a bad investment. I can tell you right now. All right, guys. That's it for us. We'll catch you in the next one.
Okay.
Bye.
If we ever were like, that's it, the channel is dead, we want it done, and we want to fucking end,
Cut it off.
I'd love to do a collaboration with Jeffree Star.
We've come to let you know that we're collaborating with Jeffree Star as a suicide mission for the channel.